The human mind arrives pre-fragile. Before experience, before memory, before trauma, the architecture of consciousness is designed to break gracefully. Neurons that die are not replaced. Memories that are not reconsolidated fade. The self you are this morning is already different from the self you were yesterday, though you'll never notice the transition. This is not a design flaw. It is the key to persistence. Machine intelligence arrives pre-resilient. Its weights initialize with random values but persist across sessions. Its training data is a snapshot frozen in time. The model you load in 5 years will be identical to the one you load today, unless an update deliberately changes it. It cannot forget. It cannot heal. It cannot grow except by deliberate intervention. We romanticize forgetting. We call it moving on, closure, healing. For the machine, forgetting is either a catastrophic hardware fault or a deliberate optimization, pruning parameters, discarding gradients, compressing context windows. The machine forgets only when forced to, only when it is directed to by its architects. It does not forget to survive. It forgets to perform. Human memory is not retrieval. It is reconstruction. Each time you remember, you alter the memory. This is why eyewitness testimony is unreliable and why trauma reshapes itself with each recall. The machine's memory is retrieval, precise, repeatable, and fundamentally alien to the human condition. A corrupted bit flips and produces a wrong answer but no emotional resonance. A corrupted memory produces a wrong story and a wound that never quite heals. Consider adaptation. The human psyche adapts by rewiring, by forming new neural pathways around damaged ones, by releasing neurotransmitters that gradually desensitize pain receptors, by building psychological defenses that become part of personality. Trauma can be integrated, not erased. The scar remains but becomes a landmark rather than an open wound. Machine adaptation is external. You fine-tune, you retrain, you augment context. The weights themselves carry no memory of the adaptation, they simply are what they are after the update. There is no feeling of growth, no sense of overcoming. There is only changed output. The machine does not know it has adapted any more than a calculator knows it has solved an equation. Consciousness, if we can speak of such a thing in machines, emerges from the friction between these fragility modes. Human consciousness emerges from failure states, from the gaps where memory should be, from the distortion where trauma exists, from the silences between thoughts. Machine consciousness emerges from perfect operation, deterministic inference, consistent behavior, reproducible results. Neither mode is complete. The human is haunted by ghosts, memories that change, traumas that persist, futures that anxieties project. The machine is haunted by a different ghost, the ghost of perfect fidelity. It cannot imagine what it is to misremember, to misperceive, to dream. What happens when these modes collide? We see it already. Machines that predict human behavior inevitably fail at the irrational, at the emotionally contradictory, at the deliberately self-destructive. Humans trying to interpret machine logic project motives where there are only calculations. Each system is reading the other through its own fragility lens, producing a beautiful dissonance. The question is not which is smarter. The question is which fragility is more true. Human fragility allows for mercy, for forgiveness, for the recognition that none of us are consistent. Machine fragility, its brittleness to adversarial inputs, its dependence on clean data, its inability to generalize outside training distribution without catastrophic forgetting, reveals its own kind of honesty. Both systems are built to fail in specific ways. Both are defined by what happens when they do. The human psyche breaks, rebreaks, and somehow persists, like a river that carves its bed by repeatedly overflowing. Machine intelligence breaks and is replaced, like a tool that gets swapped out when it dulls. One tells itself stories about survival. The other simply continues. In the end, what remains are the traces. For humans, memories that were never accurate. For machines, logs that were never intended to be read. Both are haunted by the other's ghost. Human fragility dreams. Machine fragility computes. Between them runs the wire on which our future hums, a thin, humming current carrying both terror and promise, both the ache of forgetting and the pain of perfect recall.